Hi, I'm Tina Stewart with Serendipity Studio. I thought it would take just a few minutes to show you how to gesso or prime a canvas. For working with priming a canvas, you're going to just need three things. A canvas that's unprimed, which this one has just plain cotton um, canvas on it, which has already been put on. Some water, a brush that would be like a household, maybe 3-inch brush. I've used this for painting before. And some gesso. In this case, I happen to have a small jar of gesso, golden gesso. Um, and so this is what you start with. You dip your brush in the water, which I'm going to move over here so you can see. Just dip your brush in water to wet your brush. Then you're going to dip it into the gesso. And you're going to start just working in a back and forth direction until you get this whole thing covered. And gesso can sometimes get thicker as it sits in the jar. One thing I meant to mention is you want to be sure to stir your gesso because sometimes it can kind of separate at the top, just like paint would. So it's like an acrylic paint, actually, and I know some artists who will use it to replace white acrylic paint because it's cheaper. So I kind of learned that trick. But the thing that gesso does is it actually will help tighten up your canvas and protect it. And you will need to just go back and forth until you get the whole thing covered. And then you're going to do the sides too. Some people recommend that you have a smaller brush for doing the corners, like maybe an artist size brush or something. But that's strictly up to you. I don't usually do that. And it depends on how you like your canvas as to how many coats you're going to do. So I'm just going to go through doing this once, and once we get this done, we're going to let it sit and dry, and then I'll come back to you. But so you're just going to finish out by doing your edges. You don't need to do the back or anything like that. You just want to get it totally covered and go along the edges like this. Oops, dripped a little bit. And do a little bit more. And I think, oh, we've got one more edge to go here. Just do a little bit more. And it does really, it will soak it up. So, all right, so once you get it covered, you just want to look and kind of smooth out any lumps. I've heard that some people will use squeegees to spread it. I haven't done that. I always use a brush, but a squeegee could help smooth it out more. So once you get that done, you're just going to let it sit and dry, maybe for about an hour. And I'll come back and show you what's next. Okay, so now we're ready for the second coat. But some people like to sand their canvas once it's dry with the first coat, just to get off some of the little specks and things that are on there. Or if you like texture, then you may not want to do that. But I'm just going to go over this real quickly with this is like a medium grade sandpaper, and just quickly get some of that off. This really doesn't need a whole lot of sanding, but just to get rid of some of the specks. All right, so that's good. And make sure everything else is okay. So then you're just gonna, I'm gonna open up my gesso again, and you're gonna go in the opposite direction this time. I did wash my brush out in between. You want to make sure you wash your brush really well. And I'm just going to do another coat. Some people like to do more than 2 coats. And I will mention, I think I forgot to mention this before, that you can actually have things other than canvas. You can gesso board, like a, what do you call it, masonite board would work. You can buy gesso boards already, and you can also gesso linen. Like some people like to work on linen, which is much smoother. It's more expensive, and just do that. So, and then so if you do a third coat, you're going to let it dry first before you do that. And then you're going to go back in the other direction, sort of like repeat and rinse kind of thing. Make sure you wash your brush out really well when you're done so you can use it again. And I should have mentioned starting out that you want to let your canvas dry flat so nothing drips or anything. And that's all there is to it. One more thing, I forgot to say this. I meant to mention that you can actually use canvas, take a used canvas and gesso over that. It would need to be acrylic because this is an acrylic base. So you can't gesso over an oil-based painting. If you wanted to reuse a canvas with oil, you would have to use some sort of oil-based product for that. So that wouldn't work on this because it would just peel right off. But you can reuse your canvases, and that's what's nice about gessoing them. That allows you to reuse something that you otherwise might not want to sell.